Good morning. Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Hey. Oh, wait. Hang on. There you go. Now it's moving. Good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. Ariana Nuna, the Readers channel. Officially, I do reading, but I also stream other stuff. But I've been really busy lately that I've been skipping a lot of streams. But good morning, everyone. I'm so happy that you guys are here. It's always nice to start with some viewers in the channel, so that I know that I'm not speaking to myself. I'm actively trying to hydrate my cuticle before I meet my manicurist this coming Thursday, because she always says that my hands are too dry. Can't help it, man. I have this compulsion to wash my hands a lot throughout the day, and my anxiety makes it peel. I just keep peeling my every little skin tag on my fingers. So I'm trying my best, okay? Manicurist-san. My manicurist is Japanese. Can't believe it. I mean, I can't believe it. I think most people can believe it. She's so nice. The last time I met her, she gave me some snacks because she received some snacks from her mom from her hometown in Nagoya. So nice of her. She's so sweet. Anyways, usually we talk a little bit, we chit chat a little bit in the morning before I start reading. Sento Kari. Thank you for being here in my channel for the first time ever. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Is this your first time coming to a reading event? Let's talk about you for a bit. Is Sento Kari still there? Oh, Sento Kari left. Sento Kari is like, fuck this shit. This is not my thing. Oh, okay, so yeah, Sento Kari is here. There's a delay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk shit about you. Okay, so the gist of the event is that, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, you don't have to come here if you can't make it, because I know that there are people who needs to be at their retainers to do crafting and stuff, so they can't make it in person. But I really appreciate that you open up my stream. Okay, so the gist of the stream is that I will be reading a book to you guys. Do you know Audible? Audible is where you can listen to someone read the book to you instead of you actually opening the book to read. So Noodible, the event, is basically, well, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I get it. It's a fucking game, man. No, I've been having this issue lately where my connection will just go off occasionally. I have no idea why. Yeah, sucks. But it's okay. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Just need to calm the fuck down. So, anyways, I don't know where did I stop. But yeah, Sentokari. Basically, I read to you guys. But you have, for this current book, Confessions by Minato Kanae, you have missed the past 3 chapters. So you might be a little bit confused today with the 4th chapter. However, I do have VODs available on my channel, on Twitch and also YouTube. I would recommend you to go to YouTube to watch it because the loading there is faster and easier. So anyway, oh yeah, shit! I gotta start my party finder again. Fuck my life. It's a very great stream so far, huh? Alrighty. So, the gist of this whole thing is that I just read a book to you. So, if you want to catch up on the story itself, yes, you can just I have everything linked up on my channel, Twitch channel, so you can just like go from there. Or if you don't have any problem with loading on Twitch, you can just watch it from Twitch itself. It's really not that much of a difference, I would say. Even though I've been told that some people said that loading on YouTube is better. But yeah, if you are confused with the story, I apologize in advance. That is because you have missed 3 chapters. Just to give you a little quick summary, right? For Confession up to chapter 3. As homeroom teacher of the first grade in a middle school, she's a single mother, and because of some circumstances, she has to bring her daughter to the school and wait for her to finish school. So one particular evening, she has to finish school a little bit later than usual. And when she finished her meetings, she went to find her and she's missing. And after that, they found her in the pool, the school swimming pool, drowned and dead. So she suspected that it's not just as simple as a drop into the water and drown. Slowly she pieced things together and found out that there are 2 students in the class, 2 male students in the class, who are basically involved, responsible for murdering her daughter. But because the statutory limit of I think punishment for children in Japan, the age is if it's below 15 or something, the murderer will just get away from it and they just go to like a juvenile rehabilitation center, and that's all. Like, they won't get punished for it, they won't go to jail for it, they'll just go to like a rehab center for like maybe a year or 2, and then they'll be out and about. So basically in Japan, if you're under the age of 15, if you murder someone, you can get away with it. So she knew that the police wouldn't do anything about it, so she took the matter into her own hands. And her previous partner, her partner, who is the father of the child that passed away in the drowning incident, was also a school teacher, but he died of AIDS that he got when he was younger. And AIDS being a complicated disease, it's not just so easily passable or anything like that. So she found out who was responsible for the death of her daughter, and then after that on the last day of the school term, she told everyone that she is quitting school, she's quitting teaching altogether, and then that she has put the blood of her partner who has AIDS into the milk carton of the two boys who murdered her daughter, because she know that even if she told the police about the murder of her daughter by these two boys, and there are substantial evidence for it, there's nothing can be done with it by the law because of the statutory limit that protects children who murders, basically. So she took that things into her own hands, and then slowly we are slowly unraveling who are these two boys. One of them is still a mysterious one. One chapter is entirely written or narrated by one of a female student in the class. And the third chapter is narrated by the sister slash mother of the other boy who were responsible in murdering her daughter. So by the end of it, the boy, so there's two boy, right? Two boy of the murderer. One is called Shuya, one is called Naoki, and then the girl who narrated chapter 2 is called Mizuki. Okay, so by the end of chapter 2, it was revealed that Naoki murdered his own mother. And then in chapter 4, it was narrated by Naoki's sister slash his mother's diary, whereby slowly unraveling the psychological effects that the teacher basically told them that I put AIDS blood into your milk carton to Naoki. So Naoki went basically bonkers, hide inside his room. He became a hikikomori, but his mother is being absolutely delusional about it. Like, oh, my sweet boy, like the type of mother who like really pamper their son, that type. So in the end, she decided that she wanted to kill Naoki and kill herself, but not knowing what happened, exactly what the full details are, Naoki murdered his mother and then turned himself to the police and said that I murdered my mom, so please arrest me. Like all he wanted is just being arrested for the sins that he has committed, because it was revealed. Because initially, so Shuya is the one who made the device that shocked the little girl, supposedly to death. But actually, the shock wasn't strong enough to kill her. She was just unconscious. And he just walked away after that from the scene of crime, per se. And then Naoki, being super nervous, like, oh shit, what am I supposed to do now? He took the girl up and threw her into the pool. Because from his words to the teacher, is that he thought that she was dead. But by the end of chapter 3, we found out that he confessed to his mother that the little girl was actually conscious when he picked her up. Like, she opened her eyes. Because she wasn't dead from the little shock that happened. She was just unconscious for a little bit. But even though she's conscious, for some reason, Naoki still threw her into the water. So basically, two boys who are in this crime, but Naoki is the real murderer. So that's where we are right now, at chapter 4, The Seeker. And I think this is going to be about Shuya. Because so far we have not read anything from Shuya's perspective yet. So, as of now, after the end of chapter 3, we found out that the teacher, Moriguchi sensei, never put any blood or AIDS infected blood into the milk carton. She just said it to scare them. Shuya actually went to get a test done, and he is HIV negative. He doesn't have AIDS. Mizuki got close to Shuya because they got bullied together. Naoki got insane and murdered his own mother, and that's where we are right now. I hope that helps you to understand. But if you want to know the whole story, you can always go back and listen to my previous VODs. But now at chapter 4, we shall start in about 30 seconds. I'm going to have a sip of drink and we shall start in about 30 seconds. And also good morning, unorthodox. I know you are here, always here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we shall start now. Oh, no problem at all, Sento. I don't want you to be confused with what's happening when I'm reading chapter 4. Today we are reading Minato Kanae's Confessions, Chapter 4, The Seeker. A white wall in front of me, another in back. To the right and left, above and below, white walls. How long have I been in here? Alone in this small white room. No matter which way I turn, the same scene plays endlessly on the wall. How many times have I seen it? It seems to be starting again. The snot-nosed middle school kid stumbles along the first day. I'm walking along, back hunched against the cold wind, when the tennis team in shorts and t-shirts ran past me. Then some kids sprinting to the station to get to cram school. I have not done anything wrong. I'm just headed home. But somehow I feel guilty and hunch my back even more. Look down to avoid meeting their eyes. Pick up my pace. Even though there's nothing to do when I get home. I just didn't connect. Ever since starting middle school, I just didn't connect. With what? With other people. With the teachers especially. The tennis coach, the cram school staff, my homeroom teacher. They were all hard on me. Harder than they were on anybody else. And the kids notice, and they're all making fun of me now, too. I eat lunch with the two biggest dorks in the class, a trained fanatic and a kid who spends all his time playing porno video games. I don't have much choice after I got into trouble. In the class for the first time, they were the only ones who would even talk to me. But it doesn't mean we are friends, or that they treat me well. They're not really interested in anything except trains and porns. They talk to me, so I answer, that's all. I suppose it's better than being alone. But I don't like to be seen with them, especially by the girls in our class. I don't want to go to school. But I can't really tell my mom why. She would be too disappointed. The truth is, everything about me must disappoint her. She wants me to be the best at everything, like her brother, Uncle Koji. So she tells all her relatives and the neighbors that I am a really nice boy. Nice. What does that even mean? I can't remember ever having done anything that can be called nice. I never once done volunteer work or anything like that. She's got nothing to brag about when it comes to me, so she says I'm nice. But if that's the best that she can do, she shouldn't bother. I don't want to be the worst, but I don't have a complex about not being exceptional. I grew up thinking I was really smart and really good at sports because my mother was always telling me that I was from the time when I was little. But by third grade, I knew that what she was telling me was just her hope, the way she wanted me to be. If I tried really hard, I might end up becoming a little above average, but I would never be anywhere near the best at anything. She kept this all up all the way through elementary school. For example, she framed a certificate for the only award that I ever received and put it in the living room to show visitors. I wasn't much of an award. It wasn't much of an award. A third place in calligraphy contest. I remember I wrote the word election in cursive and the teacher said it looked really natural. Once I got to the middle school, she didn't even have that kind of stuff to brag about, so she started saying how nice I was. But that wasn't enough. Then, she started writing these letters to the school. I realized what she was doing after midterm exams. Moriguchi sensei told us in homeroom who had gotten the top 3 total scores. You could tell by looking at these kids that they were all damn smart, and I clapped for them along with everybody else. It didn't bother me much that I couldn't get grades like that. I knew I wasn't at that level. Mizuki, who lives in our neighborhood, was the second best, but when I told my mother at dinner that night, she just looked bored. You don't say, she said. But I could tell she didn't care. A few days ago, I found a copy of a letter that she has been writing in the wastebasket in the living room. She must have had made a mistake and started over. At this, the letter wrote, At this late date, when we have long ago learned the importance of valuing each child for his or her individual talents, I find it deeply disturbing that a teacher should be taking the exclusionary steps of announcing the top grades to the other students in the class. I knew right away that she was writing this to complain about Moriguchi, so I took this letter and went to find her in the kitchen. You can't send this, I told her. You'll make it look like I've got some sort of complex because I'm a lousy student. Now, Naoki, she said in her sweetest voice. That's not it at all. It has nothing to do with you. I just don't like all this attention paid to grades. I'm objecting because that's the only thing she talks about. Is that all that matters? What about being a good person? She doesn't seem to care about that. She's not announcing the names of the top 3 nicest class children in the class, is she? Or the names of the 3 hardest workers when it comes to cleaning after school. I just want her to be fair, to balance things out. I felt like puking. What was she saying sounded reasonable, but if I had been one of the 3 with the top grades, she would never have written a letter like this. Bottom line, she was just disappointed in me. Since then, every time she says how nice I am, it makes me more and more miserable. More and more. A bicycle bell rang behind me and I turned around to see a girl from my class coming up to pass me. She had been friendly enough until recently. She might have called out as she rode by on her bike. Not now. I pulled out my perpetually silent cell phone and pretended to check my texts, sniffling as if I had a cold. Then I started to walk again until somebody hit me pretty hard on the back. Watanabe, another kid from the class. "Hey, Shitamura," he said. "You busy? I've got this awesome video and I was wondering whether you wanted to watch it with me." What the? When we switched our desks around in February, we ended up next to each other, but we hardly ever talked. We had not gone to the same elementary school, and we had never even had a cleanup duty together after class. Besides that, he kind of bugged me. I guess we were just too different when it came to schoolwork. He didn't even go to cram school, but his scores were practically perfect in every subject. And over the summer, he had won some sort of prize in the national science contest. But that wasn't even what bothered me the most. Watanabe was usually alone. Before class in the morning or when we had a break, he would be reading some thick book, and after school he would disappear right away. Since I was usually alone too, I guess you could say we were a lot alike. But what I hated was the fact that being alone obviously didn't bother him. It wasn't that he didn't have any friends. He avoided people because he didn't want to be with them. Like he couldn't be bothered hanging out with a bunch of idiots. That's what I couldn't take about him. He reminded me of Uncle Koji. Still, most of the guys in the class looked up to Watanabe, and in a weird way, some of them even tried to suck up to him. But it wasn't because he was smarter than they were. That he doesn't get you much respect in middle school. But it wasn't. Sorry, I'm messing up a lot today. But it wasn't because he was smarter than they were. That doesn't get you much respect in middle school. It was because he had used his smarts to figure out how to almost completely eliminate the blurring the senses put on porn videos and get a clear image. That's what they said anyways. I'd heard these rumors and I was as interested as anybody else in getting my hands on the videos, but it wasn't like I was going to ask him out of the blue to lend me one after all. We had hardly said a word to each other. But then, he came up and started talking to me. What the? Why are you asking me? I said. I thought he might be just jerking me around. Maybe some of the other guys in the class were hiding somewhere nearby to see how I would react. I looked around, but there was no sign of anyone else. "I've been wanting to talk to you for a while now," he said, "but I could never find the right time. I could tell though that you are different from the rest of them. You've got a lot going for you. I'm even a little jealous." He laughed, sounding almost embarrassed. He had this kind of awkward look on his face. It was the first time I had seen him smile. But it still didn't make any sense. Jealous? Of me? I might be jealous of him, but the opposite was hard to imagine. "Why?" I said. "Everybody thinks I'm an egghead. They think I'm going all out. I'll do anything to get good grades." It's kind of embarrassing to be seen that way. "You think so?" "I don't see you like that." "Well, everybody else does. I feel like a kind of a loser. But you take everything at your own pace. You look around, first term and size everyone up, and then on second term your grades went way up." "Maybe a little," I said, "but they are still nowhere near as good as yours. But you're still on cruise control. You've got a whole other year. That's pretty cool." "Cool? Me? No one, not another boy or girl, not even in my own mother, had ever told me that I was cool before." I could feel my heart racing, my cheeks getting really hot. It was true that my grades had gone up after summer vacation, when I started going to cram school, but they had long since leveled off. The cram school teacher got on my case and figured out all sorts of ways to make my life miserable. In fact, when I realized that no matter how hard I work, I would never be much better than average, I had quit cram school last month. But hearing this now from Watanabe, I began to feel that he might be right, that I might actually be coasting. I could probably kick up my game if I wanted to. Maybe I had qualities I had never recognized myself, ones that only Watanabe could see. I suddenly wanted to be his friend, more than just about anything. The next time I saw him, we met at his laboratory, a room in an old house by the river. I brought some carrot cookies my mother had made. On a new widescreen TV, zombie dot booms was swarming through a city night. As for the porn, he said he had been interested in figuring out how to get rid of the blurred section on the screen but didn't care much about what was behind the blur. In fact, he said it pretty much disgusted him. He let me watch a little, but instead of the normal stuff, it turned out to be all these naked blonde women fighting each other in a regular pro wrestling ring. We turned it off when they started to get really rough. We decided to watch something else. We went to the video shop by the station and got an American action horror movie. Mom doesn't let me watch stuff with guns and lots of violence, so I was pretty into it. The hero was this cool woman who blasted a whole army of zombies with this awesome machine gun, which would be totally fun to do. In fact, I must have muttered something about wanting to do that too. Because at some point, when I looked over at Watanabe, he was looking back at me. Okay, he said, is there anybody in particular you want to do it to? What do you mean? I said. Wait till it's over, he said, turning back to the movie. I guess I thought he meant if you were the woman in the movie or something like that. I went back to watching. The zombies that the woman had just blasted were staggering back to their feet like it's some really bad nightmare. And at the end of the whole thing, she still had not been able to get rid of all of them. I guess there was going to be a sequel. What would you do if the whole town was crawling with zombies? I asked Watanabe as we ate my mother's cookies. Instead of answering, he stood up, went to a desk, and took something out of a drawer. A black coin purse. Is that the shocking purse? I asked him. That's right, and I've managed to increase the voltage. I just haven't found anybody to try it out on yet. You want to be the first? I shook my head and put my hands behind my back. Just kidding, he said. No, I made a deal with all the people I can't stand. It needs to be tested on one of them. Then he set the purse down in front of me. It looked like any other purse with a zipper. Does it really work? I asked. If you touch the zipper, you get a pretty good shock, enough to knock you on your ass. Not you, I mean somebody we don't like. How would you like to see that? You bet I would. But who are you going to use it on? That's the point. I've been so busy inventing this thing and getting good grades, I can't tell people apart. You know, I hate all of them. That's why I was hoping you would choose. Me? I said, nearly choking. But I was also really excited. We were going to use his invention to get back at someone evil, and I was going to decide who. I felt like I was suddenly in a movie. Watanabe was the mad scientist and I was his assistant. But who to pick? I racked my brain. Not my enemy, our enemy. Which means it had to be a teacher. One of the more self-satisfied bastard. What about Tokura? I said. Not bad, but I don't think I want to mess with him. Okay, someone else? How about Moriguchi, who was always worrying about her own kid more than her students? Moriguchi? I said aloud. Actually, I tried it on her. I don't think she would fall for it again. Strike two. Watanabe sighed and began fooling around with the tools on his desk like he was getting bored. Maybe he was starting to regret he had asked me to come. If he didn't like my next suggestion, he might even call off the whole plan. Or he might get somebody else to help him, and they would choose me. I could almost hear them talking. Him? Worthless, a total waste. What could be worse? Nothing, except maybe being forced to clean a dirty pool in the winter all by yourself, even though I had not even done anything wrong. It wasn't so much the cleaning. I hated having everybody see me being punished like that. So when I heard someone coming, I ducked in the locker room and it turned out to be... That's it! What about her? What about Moriguchi's little girl? I said. She doesn't care about us, just about that brat. So what's better way to get to her? Watanabe's hand froze over his toes. Not bad, he said. I've never seen her, but I hear she comes to school sometimes. He was obviously interested. I did a major fist pump in my head. I had cleared the first hurdle. To seal the deal, to make myself seem more useful. I told him how I had seen the girl begging Moriguchi for the little pouch at the mall, and how she hadn't bought it for her. Awesome! A pouch would give me the room to make even more powerful. I knew I was right about you, Shitamura. Thanks to you, this is going to be even better than I thought. Then, let's go get the pouch. We don't want them selling out. We got on our bikes and headed for the mall. Happy Town. It was almost Valentine's Day and the place was really crowded. I wove through all the lines and the high school girls, making a beeline for the toy corner. Here it is! Looks like it's the last one. I smoothed the crushed fur and held out the snuggly bunny pouch for Watanabe to see. Then it must have been meant to be, Watanabe said. Precisely. If they had been so loud, the whole plan would have been screwed up. It was fate. Us getting the last one. We put our allowance together and bought the pouch. Then we went up to the Domino Burgers on the second floor to hold a strategy session. How does the purse work? I asked him as I bit into my burger. It's pretty simple. I can wire a zipper like this to deliver the shock. He arranged the french fries on his tray to match the circuits, but I couldn't follow any of it. You see? He asked from time to time as the diagram got more complicated. I get it, I said when I thought it sounded right. It is simple. I didn't want to disappoint him. As I nodded and pretended to follow along, I almost felt like I was beginning to understand, but it hardly mattered. I was having more fun than I had ever been. I've been to Domino with my sister, but this was the first time with a friend. I remember being seen in high school. I remember having seen middle and high school kids here when I was in elementary school and thinking how cool they look. Now, I was here myself, and to top it off, we weren't just talking about some stupid stuff like the kids around us. We are having an important meeting, a secret strategy session. But why does she come to the pool? Watanabe asked, eating one of the french fries from his diagram. That was my cue. For the dog. Have you seen the dog at the house on the other side of the fence? You mean the fuzzy one? That's right, she comes to feed him. I think she hides bread or something under her coat. Really? I wonder why she does that. What about the people in the house? Now that you mention it, I haven't seen anyone there in about a week. Maybe they are on a trip. We probably need to check on that. How? I've got it. What if we throw a baseball over the fence and I go into the yard to get it back? Ideas were popping into my head one after another. I've never felt like this before. Watanabe, the chief design officer, and I was in charge of tactics. I wasn't his assistant anymore. We were working together. I proposed the following plan to him. Number 1, I would go ahead to scout out the place to avoid any unforeseen interruptions. Number 2, I would meet up with him at the pool and we'll hide in the locker room. Number 3, when the girl came, I'll talk to her first since Watanabe looks kind of weird when he smiles. Number 4, Watanabe would hang the pouch on her neck, pretending her mother asked us to buy it for her. Number 5, then I would tell her to look inside. Sounds good to me, Watanabe said, sounding satisfied. I burst out laughing, picturing Moriguchi's little girl sitting back on her butt. Do you think she will start bawling? I asked, still chuckling. Watanabe was giggling too. No, I don't think so. Really? I think she will. You wanna bet on it? Loser treats for Domino Burgers next time. You are on. We toasted with Coke to seal the deal. The kid sneaks into the pool with feeling really nervous 1 week after the first day. Since this morning, no really, for the past few days I have been totally pumped. For the first time since I've got to middle school, I'm actually happy to be here. After the second period, I whispered to Watanabe, "Everything ready?" "All set," he whispered back without looking at me. Even though we were friends now, we hadn't started hanging out at school because we didn't want anyone figuring out what we are up to. I wasn't really paying attention in class anymore, and in the fifth period during science, I happened to look up and see Moriguchi. I almost burst out laughing. The whole day seems to race by. After school, I went straight to the pool. I took a look around and made sure nobody was there. Fortunately, no one had been given the cleanup duty after me. The dog was sticking its nose through the fence, but it still didn't look like anybody was home. Still, better safe than sorry, so I fished out the baseball that I had found behind the team shed and threw it into the yard. Then I pretended to be mad and I had to chase it and climb over the fence. I walked around the house and pushed the buttons on the intercom, but there was no answer and no sign of people inside. Perfect. I went over to the fence again and back to the pool. The dog had been watching me the whole time, but it never once barked. Maybe it was too old or too stupid. I texted Watanabe that phase 1 was completed, and within 5 minutes he showed up at the pool. "All systems are go," I said and gave him the thumbs up. Then we went into the locker room and hid behind the door. It was never locked. Phase 2 is underway. The locker room was dark and musty and reminded me of the forts we used to make under a blanket or something when we were kids, back when I still thought I could do anything. But maybe that had all changed now. Maybe I really could do anything with a friend like Watanabe. I looked over at him and realized he was doing a final test on the pouch. It looked totally harmless, like a perfectly normal little kid's purse, but I knew better. How cool that it could deliver a real electric shock. "Why don't you come over to my house next time?" I said. "My mom really wants to meet you. She said she'll bake a cake. I think she's happy I got a smart friend." She wrote to the principal last term to bitch about Moriguchi always announcing our class rank. But when I told her we were friends, she knew right away that you are at the top of our class. Go figure. I don't have anything like your laboratory, but she does bake a pretty good cake. And I know you can come over sometime soon to celebrate this whole plan. I'll have her bake something really special. Which do you like better, whipped cream or chocolate?" He didn't answer, held his hand out for me to be quiet. Through the crack in the door, we could see the little girl slipping through the gate. "It's her," I whispered, and we watched as she made her way around the pool, headed towards the dog at the fence. Apparently, she had not seen us. "Dinner, Muku," she said. Then she squatted down in front of him, pulled some bread out of her jacket and began tearing off pieces to give it to him. He wagged his tail and gobbled down the bread, and she watched him with this big smile on her face. It was all gone in just a few seconds. "See you soon," she said, wiping the crumbs from her clothes and standing up. I looked at Watanabe, and he nodded. Then we walked slowly over to her. Phase 3 underway. I spoke first. "Hi," I said as we got close to her. "You are Manami, aren't you?" We must have startled her because she turned around really fast. I kept smiling. "We are in your mother's class. Do you remember? I saw you the other day at the Happy Town. Everything was going according to plan, except that she seemed pretty nervous. She was watching us carefully. Do you like dogs? Watanabe asked her. We do too. That's why we come here sometimes to feed the doggy. This line wasn't in the original plan, but the girl got this big smile on her face when she heard it. Watanabe had the pouch behind his back, but as soon as she saw that she is relaxed, he held it out towards her. Phase 4. Snuggly bunny! She screamed. Watanabe got this weird smile on his face, and then he bent down so that he could look in her eyes. Your mother didn't buy it for you that day, did she? I asked her. Did you get one later? I felt like I was reading a line from our script. She shook her head. No, said Watanabe. That's why your mother asked us to get it for you. It's a little early, but it's your Valentine's present from her. Then she put the cord around her neck. From Mama? She said, looking even happier than before. I didn't think she looked much like Moriguchi until she smiled. Then she looked exactly like her. That's right. There's chocolate inside. Open it and see. This was a clincher, and it was supposed to be my line, but Watanabe went ahead and said it himself, which made me a little mad. Still, what did it matter? We are getting to the climax. The girl stroked the fur on the pouch for a second, and then put her fingers on the zipper. This was the moment when she got the shock and fell flat on her ass. Except it didn't. There was a little popping sound, and she twitched hard and went all floppy, then settled on her back like she was falling in slow motion. After that, she just lay there, perfectly still, with her eyes closed. What just happened? She couldn't be dead. As this idea popped into my head, I started to shake and grab onto Watanabe almost like a reflex. What's wrong? She's not moving, I said. Watanabe didn't answer, but when I looked up at him, he was smiling, as though everything he had wished had just come true. It was the most natural smile in the world. He looked at me. Go ahead. Tell everybody all about it, he said. What? Tell them what? Before I had the time to say anything, he brushed me off like a piece of dirt. See you later, he said, and then he turned around and walked away. Wait, what did you do? I wanted to scream after him as loud as I could, but nothing came out. He stopped as though he had just remembered something and turned around. Oh, I almost forgot. Don't worry about them thinking you had anything to do with this. We have never been friends. I can't stand kids like you anyway. Worthless but full of yourself. Compared to a genius like me, you're pretty much a complete failure. A failure? Wait, don't leave me here like this. I wanted to run after him, to run away, but my legs were frozen. His words echoed over and over in my head. Everything went black. It was getting dark. The sound of the evening chime brought me back to my senses. I felt like I had been standing there in the dark for hours, but it had only been a few minutes since Watanabe left. His parting words were still racing through my head. He had meant to kill her all along. I had been used, but for what? Tell everybody all about it. Was that what he wanted in the first place? If I went to the police and told them everything that had happened, they would go arrest him. Was that what he wanted? Did he want to be a murderer? Maybe that was it. But if he did get arrested, would they really just let me go? What if he lied to the police? What if he told them he didn't know anything about it? Or that I had planned the whole thing and had dragged him along? That would be it for me. I looked down, and my eyes met the snuggly bunny eyes. I was the one who had seen the girl begging Moriguchi for the pouch. I reached down and took it from her neck, and then I threw it as far as I could. Was it enough? Would they suspect me? If I just ran away and didn't tell anybody, would I get off? No, that wouldn't work. If somebody gets electrocuted, they would go looking for someone to blame. It wouldn't take long before they would get Watanabe, and if he turned on me. What if I made it look like she fell into the pool? That would work. She just fell into the pool. I had to act quickly. I picked her up, and being careful not to look at her face, she was heavier than I thought she would be. I staggered across the deck, but when I got to the edge of the pool, I nearly fell in myself. The water was dirty and covered with dead leaves. I held out my arms. No, that wouldn't work. I didn't want to make a big splash and a lot of noise. I squatted down, taking care not to lose my balance, but as I did, the girl's body twitched a little. Then, she slowly opened her eyes. I cried out and nearly dropped her in the water. She's alive! Alive! I was so relieved. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. A failure. As I relaxed from the terror I had been feeling, Watanabe's last words came back to me again. He had been looking down on me all along, using me. He wanted to be a murderer. And he had exploited me to do it, but the girl is still alive. It was Watanabe's plan that was the failure. You are a failure! You are a failure, and you don't even know you're a stupid loser. I'm not sure which came first, Moriguchi's little girl regaining consciousness and looking up at me, or my letting go and dropping her in the water. But once I had done it, I left without looking back. My legs weren't shaking anymore. I had succeeded where Watanabe had failed. The kid wakes up with a smile on his face one day after the incident. My mother was frying eggs and bacon when I went down to the kitchen the next morning. She turned around when she heard me. Naoki, something terrible has happened, she said. The newspaper lay on the table. About halfway down the page, a little headline read, 4-year-old drowns after sneaking into pool area to feed dog. Accidental drowning. It was already in the paper. The article said the whole thing had been ruled as an incident, as an accident. So, I had done it. I feel so sorry for Moriguchi-sensei, my mother said, but I never understood bringing a child to school like that. I wonder what will happen to your class, especially since you have got final exams in just a few more weeks. But I almost forgot, she said. Then she went over to the dish cupboard and took out a box wrapped in red paper and tied with a gold ribbon. She came over and set it down on a newspaper covering up the article. Here you are, chocolate for Valentine's Day. She smiled and I gave her a big smile back. Since my sister isn't here anymore, it occurred to me that this was the only chocolate I would be getting. But then, when I got to school, I ran into Mizuki and she gave me a little box of chocolate too. Though, I guess she had to, since my sister had been nice to her. Not that I was going to turn it down. Did you see the newspaper? She asked me all of a sudden, and I nearly dropped the box. I managed to say something about how terrible it was. When I got to class, that was all anybody was talking about. Apparently, the kids who had stayed late after school were all put to work searching for Moriguchi's little girl. It was Hoshino from our class who had found her, but some other kids had seen the body too. Everybody was pretty worked up. A few girls were crying, but mostly they seemed kind of excited. At first, they were just trying to figure out what had happened, adding little bits of information, but then it turned into a competition, with everybody bragging about what they had seen or done. I was watching all this from the doorway when somebody grabbed my arm from behind and dragged me out into the hallway. Watanabe. What did you do? He said, sticking his face right in mine. But somehow I wasn't scared of him. In fact, suddenly I wanted to laugh. I didn't, but I brushed his hand away. Don't talk to me, I told him. We're not friends, remember? And about yesterday? I'm not going to tell anybody. If you want to, go ahead. I turned around and went back into the class. I sat down, but I didn't join in all the boasting and bragging. I just opened a book, an old mystery novel that Uncle Koji had given me. It was different now, not the same me I had been before. I had succeeded where Watanabe had failed. But unlike him, I wasn't going to tell everybody about it. Moriguchi's little girl died in an accident, and even if they found out it was a murder, Watanabe was the one who did it. Anyway, I had seen how much he had wanted to do it. If the police show up at our school, he would probably confess right away. What an idiot. He had blown the whole thing and he didn't even know it. Moriguchi took a week off and then showed up at school again. She didn't say anything about what had happened, just apologized in the homeroom for having gone for so long, like she had a cold or something. If I died, my mom would probably turn into an invalid or go crazy. She might even kill herself. Moriguchi acted so normal she didn't even seem sad. But that only served to make us realize how depressed she really was. I was pretty sure Watanabe could tell that she was totally messed up, and that he would be laughing to himself every time he saw her, and that made me laugh it that much harder. At least, that was how it was supposed to go. Classes were pretty nice for a while. The teachers pretended to go treating us like they always had. I'm not sure whether they didn't want to embarrass anybody or whether they just wanted to avoid any trouble in class, but for once they made sure to give the hardest problems to the smart kids. Watanabe never had to struggle no matter how tough the question was, and the teacher praised him, and he pretended he didn't care. But now I could laugh at him when he acted all big like that. You could see it in his face. You think that stupid problem is going to stump me? I've done something much harder than that. The stupid kid. He didn't even know he hadn't done it. But that I had. The problems they gave to Watanabe even started to seem easier to me. We had a quiz on Chinese characters last week, and I got all the hard readings. The teacher was impressed, and why shouldn't he be? It might not happen for this next final exam, but before long I'll probably be getting better grades than Watanabe. When I realized that, the kids in class started to look totally dumb. It was really hard not to laugh in their faces. The kids tell his story in a trembling voice 1 month after the incident. Moriguchi was coming to our house. I was already home when I got a call from her on my cell phone a little afternoon on the last day of finals. She said she wanted to meet me at the pool to talk about something. She knows, I thought. Guess what? That must be why she wants to meet me at the pool. My hand started to shake as I held the phone and my heart was pounding. Stay calm. Stay calm. Watanabe is the murderer. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to keep cool at the pool, so I asked her to come to our house. I decided to risk a question before hanging up. What about Watanabe? I asked. I've just been speaking with him, she said, her voice all low and calm. I could feel myself relaxing. Everything was going to be okay. Watanabe was the murderer, and he had pulled me in against my will. Moriguchi's sudden visit surprised my mother. I said I wanted her to stay with us while we talk. I was sure she wanted to know the whole story anyway, so it was better to have her there. I believe she would believe me and try to help. Moriguchi started with a really general question. What sort of experience have you had at middle school? She asked. This obviously had nothing to do with the incident, but I had decided I would tell the truth no matter what she asked. So I told her about the tennis club and cram school, about my run-in with the high school kids at the game center, and how it felt when she didn't come to bail me out. I told her about being a victim, but getting punished anyway, about every miserable thing that had happened. She listened to all this beginning to end without saying a single word. Then, just as I was taking a break to have a sip of tea, she asked her next question in this quiet, strangled voice that seemed to echo through the living room. Naoki, she said, what did you do to Manami? I put my cup down really slowly, but my mother practically screamed. She didn't know anything about it or whether I was involved, but she was already upset and pretty mad. I knew I had to convince them that Watanabe had used me and that I was a victim too. So I told Moriguchi what had happened. From the time Watanabe had stopped me on the way home from school to the moment I was standing by the pool, holding her daughter in my arm, I told her everything, the truth, down to the last detail. Watanabe had led me on and then double-crossed me. I never intended for anybody to get hurt. I told the truth, except for the very end. Just one little lie to wrap it all up. I was pretty sure my version would agree with what she had heard from Watanabe. She had not interrupted me once the whole time I was talking, and even when I was done, she didn't say anything. She just stared at the table and clutched her knees, but I could tell how mad she was. Poor, dumb lady. My mother didn't say anything either. We sat there for 5 minutes and then Moriguchi finally turned to look at mother. To be frank, as a mother, I feel as though I want to kill both your son and Watanabe, but I am also a teacher, and that leaves me with a dilemma. My duty as an adult and as a citizen is to report what the boys have done to the police, but my duty as a teacher is to protect my students. Since the police have ruled Manami's death as an accident, however, I have decided to leave it at that. I will not be causing you trouble. What? She wasn't going to the cops? My mother took a few seconds to take this in, but at last she bowed her head really low. I don't know how to thank you, she said. I bowed too. So it was all going to work out. We saw her to the door. The whole time she was there, she never looked at me once. I suppose because she was so mad, but I really didn't care. Sitting at his desk, the kid looks really pale 1 week after the teacher's visit. The last day of school year, after milk time, Moriguchi told us that she was retiring. I have to admit, I was happy to hear it. I had managed to get her to believe that Watanabe had killed her daughter, but I had been nervous coming to school like this, wondering whether it would all come out and I would be accused of being his accomplice. Are you quitting because of what happened? Mizuki asked her. I shot her a look, wondering why she had to bring it up. But Moriguchi didn't seem to mind. She started in on this long story as though she had been meaning all along to tell us what was on her mind. She told us why she became a teacher in the first place. And then she talked about Sakura Naomi sensei and all the stuff he had done. I really didn't care. I just wanted her to finish up and shut up. And then she started talking about mutual trust between student and teacher and about getting texts, sometimes fake ones, from the students asking her to come and meet them or help them or something. She said the school has started a policy that when a call comes from a boy in the class where the teacher is a woman, they will send the male teacher from another class and vice versa. So that's why she didn't come when I got into trouble at the game center. It's a little late to be finding that out now. She talked about being a single mother, then something about AIDS, and then something about her daughter falling into the pool. The whole time I felt like someone was tightening a noose around my neck. Shitamura-san happened to appear from somewhere. Suddenly she mentioned my name and I nearly choked. Like the milk I had just drunk was coming back up. She went on talking. I was just managing to calm down when it came. Because Manami's death was not an accident. She was murdered by some of the students in this very class. It was like somebody had pushed me into that cold, dirty pool. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't see, my arms and legs were flailing around, but there was nothing to hang on to. Everything seemed to be going black, but somehow I knew it wasn't the time to be passing out. How much was she planning to say? I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself down. That's when I finally able to focus what was going on in the room. I realized that everybody was staring at Moriguchi. A few minutes ago they had all looked bored and were barely listening. But now they were all ears. But instead of getting to the point, she launched into all this stuff about the juvenile law and that the thing they call the lunacy incident. I had no idea what she was trying to say. She paused for a moment, and I was praying that she might be finished, but then she went on, talking about her daughter's funeral. The next part was pretty surprising. She said that the girl's father was Sakuranomi sensei, but that she had decided not to marry him because he had AIDS. I remember thinking that it was weird that Sakuranomi was going to die soon because of AIDS, and being surprised that I could think about anything other than what was going to happen to me. I guess that was when I started rubbing my hands on my desk trying to make the feeling go away. The feeling that they were still holding the girl. If they had AIDS, maybe that I had caught it too. We could hear the chairs scraping on the floor in the next room. They must be done. Moriguchi seemed to have heard them, and I was hoping that she would let us go, and she did. She said that anybody who wanted to leave could leave. My prayers was answered, but no one moved. If anyone at all, had gotten up, I would have sneaked out, but you could tell right away that no one was going to leave. She looked at us for a minute, like she was making sure we weren't going anywhere, and then she started in again. She said that she wasn't going to use names, that she was going to call them Killer A and Killer B. But that didn't mean anything, because as soon as she started talking about A, you could tell right away that it was not Watanabe. I think she meant for everybody to know, to get them interested, and it worked. Everybody started to turn around to look at him. Then it was B's turn. The story was pretty much what I had told her that day she came to the house. She sat there, listening, not saying anything, but when she repeated everything I had said, she added these little comments that made me look stupid. Like I didn't do it because I was smart. I wanted to prove something. I did it because I was dumb and couldn't do anything else. But what was the point of getting mad at her now? The game was over. Now they were all looking at me. Some kids were laughing, but some were shooting me looks like they were really hating me. I was going to get killed. I knew it. It was all pretty simple. I went off to the game center. First bad move. Got punished. I was convinced that my teacher was ignoring me, so I became an accomplice to murder. Who wouldn't want to kill me? But it was really Watanabe's fault. I'm actually a victim. He's a murderer. I'm a victim. A equals murderer, B equals victim. A equals murderer, B equals victim. I repeated the formula over and over to myself. Ogawa had another question for Moriguchi. What if A kills somebody else? He asked. He seemed really into it. But you are mistaken. A didn't kill anyone in the first place, Moriguchi said. It was B who killed Manami. I could feel myself being pulled deep down to the bottom of the pool. She said that the shock was not strong enough to kill, that Manami had only been unconscious. They knew. She came to our house to find out, and now she knew. She still wasn't sure I had done it on purpose, but that didn't matter anymore. It didn't change the fact that I had killed her little girl. Everybody was looking at me. I wondered what Watanabe was thinking, what kind of expression he had on his face, but I could not look. I was convinced that the police would be coming and soon take me away. But then I realized Moriguchi was saying that she wasn't going to trust the law to punish us. What does that mean? Everything was getting dim around me. I had fallen into something, but not a pool. Some sort of thick swamp that was swallowing me up, leaving only Moriguchi's quiet voice whispering in my ears. I added some blood to the carton that went to A and B this morning, she was saying. Not my blood. The blood of the most noble man I know. Manami's father, Saint Sakuranomi. Sakuranomi sensei's blood. Eight's blood. In the milk? The carton that I had drained to the last drop? I might be dumb, but even I could figure out what that meant. Death. I was going to die. Die, 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 die. I was going to die. I could feel myself sinking deeper and deeper into this icy slime. The kid staring out his bedroom window at the sky just after the revenge. Spring break. I spent my days in my room staring out at the sky. I wanted to climb out from the swamp and run away somewhere. Somewhere where nobody knows me. Somewhere I could start all over from the beginning. White jet streams stretch out all the way to the edge of the blue sky. I wonder how far they go. As I'm thinking about this, I remember something I heard once. Weak people find even weaker people to be their victim, and the victimized often feel that they have only two choices: put up with the pain or end their suffering in death. But they are wrong. The world you live in is much bigger than that. If the place in which you find yourself is too painful, I say you should free to seek another, less painful place of refuge. There's no shame in seeking a safe place. I want you to believe that somewhere in this wide world there is a place for you, a safe haven. Then I remembered who said it. It was Sakuranomi sensei. I saw him on TV just a few months ago. Some joke. Me remembering this now. He was so sure there was some place I could go, but how was a middle school kid supposed to survive out in the world by himself? Where would I sleep? What would I eat? Was anyone going to feed a runaway kid or give him a job? You couldn't last long out there without money. It was always the same thing. Adults gave you all this advice, but they could only understand the world on their own terms. They couldn't remember how it is to be a kid. When I was your age, I was always running away from home. My friends and I were always getting into trouble and getting punished for it. But we never once thought about killing ourselves. Why would we when we had each other? Maybe that's how it worked when he was a kid, but things are different now. Nobody really has any friends. I'm not even sure what that means. So if I'm going to go on living, I have no choice but to do it in this house. My father works. My mother looks after me and I stay right here. This is the only refuge I've got. But what would happen if I give the HIV virus to my mother and father? And they get sick and die before I do? What will I do then? I've got to make sure that they don't get it. That's my final goal as I live my last few days here in this swamp. I seem to cry a lot in this swamp, but not because I'm sad. When I wake up in the morning, I realize I'm still alive. The first thing I do is cry for joy. I pull the curtains open in my room and let the sunlight shine in. And though I know I don't have anything to do, I still cry at the start of a new day. I cry because of the food that my mom makes me is so delicious. She fills the table with all my favorite, and I cry even harder when I realize that I may not be around much longer to enjoy all this. I even tried those bean cakes I've always hated, thinking that I should while I still had the chance. I cried because I never imagined they would be that good. Why had I never given them a chance before? They told me my sister is pregnant. I cried to think about a new life coming into the world. Then I wanted to congratulate her in person because she's always been good to me, but I couldn't risk infecting the baby, so I was left to cry all by myself. But I'm not really unhappy. I don't really hate the way I am now. I thought it would be terrifying to live like this knowing that I'm going to die soon, but my life is actually more peaceful than it was really before. I thought I wanted to go on like this forever. But then, spring break ended. I was entering 8th grade and I had to go to school. That's why they call it compulsory education. I knew that, but somehow I still couldn't make myself go. I am a murderer. If I show up at school, the kids in the class were going to punish me. They were going to hurt me. I was pretty sure that they would even actually kill me. So how could I go? But in addition to everything that might have happened at school, I had another worry. I wasn't sure that my mother would let me stay home. I've been making up aches and pains every day since the start of school. But that can't work forever. Eventually she's gonna get angry or cry or tell me how disappointed she is. I hate all that. But it's not like I can tell her the real reason. What would happen if she knew all the details of Moriguchi's daughter? I threw her body in the pool after Watanabe killed her. That's what she thinks. And even that was a pretty bad shock. But how would she feel if she knew that I had actually killed her, that I had done it intentionally, or that Moriguchi had taken her revenge by infecting me with AIDS virus? I'll tell you how she would feel. She would go completely crazy. But what would I do if she didn't want me here anymore? The thing that I was most afraid of being thrown out of the house. To me, that was the same as dying. Then, all of a sudden, she came to my room. I was surprised that she didn't really push me to school. Instead, she wanted me to go to see the doctor. She said I could stay home and take it easy for a while. Well, if they diagnosed me with a psychological problem, maybe I was sick. But if I went to the doctor, they might find out about the HIV, and then mother would know. That was a little scary, but I decided that I could always run off if it looked like they were going to do any test. Anyway, pretty much anything was better than being forced to go to school where the kids were bound to kill me. In the end, I shouldn't have worried so much. The doctor came out with a name for what it ails me. It's called autonomic ataxia, whatever that is. But it turns out that plenty of kids my age in Japan are staying home from school because they have it. My mother didn't seem particularly upset when she heard it. In fact, she almost seemed happy. At the very least, it meant that I could stay home and rest for a while, and that made me a little more relaxed too. When we left the clinic, I looked around like I was seeing the world with new eyes. I had not realized that morning because I was so nervous, but this was the first time I had been out of the house since that day. I was surprised to see that I could breathe the air out here like any normal person. Maybe I couldn't go to school, but I might be able to start going outside again. I took a deep breath like I was trying to check whether I had come up out of the swamp, even a little bit. And that's when I caught the sight of Domino Burger by the station. It wasn't my favorite place. Watanabe and I hung out during those few days when I thought we were friends, but my mother asked whether I wanted to get something to eat. Before we get home, I told her I could eat a hamburger. For one thing, I know they use paper plates and plastic forks, so there was less chance of spreading the virus. But the real reason is that I needed to prove something to myself. I knew I wasn't ready to go back to Happy Town, but if I could face a place like Domino Burger, I thought I would eventually able to crawl out of the swamp. I've been so worried about dying that I completely forgotten about Watanabe, at least until I saw the Domino's Burger sign. I suddenly wondered what he was doing. I was sure he must be locked away in his laboratory that was in that deserted house, worrying about dying too. And I have to admit that idea made me feel pretty good. He was
getting just what he deserved. That was what I thought as I bit into my burger. But then something flew up all over my leg. Milk! 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 They were sitting right next to us, Moriguchi and her daughter. They were coming after me, pushing my head down just when I had been able to get it a little bit out of the swamp. Stop! 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 My head was going under the mud again. They were watching me, making sure that I would never get out. The slime was getting into my mouth, running down my throat. I ran into the bathroom and threw up, trying to get the mud out, then the image of Watanabe along with it. The kid peeks through his curtain and looks down at the visitors about 2 months after the revenge. I haven't been able to go outside again after that trip to the doctor, but I managed to get by here. It's nice and quiet. My room is the most peaceful since I don't have to worry about spreading the virus when I'm in here. I read manga on the internet almost every day and then think up sequels to the stories, write those down in notebooks that my mother bought me. I have to do a lot of cleaning, which is a pain, but it feels better than just messing around all day. Then they show up. Terada, the new homeroom teacher, and Mizuki. They said they had brought copies of class notes, and mother let them in and talk with them in the living room, which is right below my room. I could hear every single word they said. Mother spent a lot of time telling Terada how terrible Moriguchi had been. Then Terada told my mother she should leave all my troubles to him. He said it in this really arrogant tone of voice, and I thought I was going to scream right through the floor. Leave me alone! I managed to keep quiet, but I started to feel really scared. You could never trust teachers. This one was acting all nice and friendly, but he was just trying to lure me back to school so that they could kill me. Terada had probably been Moriguchi's student or something. She was probably his guru. He acted like he was worried about me, but he was probably here to check up on us, see what we are doing, so he could report back to Moriguchi. I couldn't even trust Mizuki. There's a rumor at school that she was Moriguchi's spy. Maybe Moriguchi still wasn't satisfied. Maybe she had decided she wanted to kill me right away, and this was part of her plan. My mother seemed to like Terada. What would I do if she let him come up here? He was probably coming to kill me. I just realized that mother had been telling Terada all the bad stuff about Moriguchi. What if he went back and told her? When mother came up to my room looking all proud of herself, I screamed and threw a dictionary at her. Why did she have to go shooting her mouth off? She looked really shocked. Probably because it was the first time I had ever acted like that. As soon as the door was closed, I started to cry again, but I can't think of any other way to protect myself. Terada and Mizuki comes once a week, and every time I feel terrified. Mother doesn't let them into the house anymore, but she hasn't told them to stop coming. How much longer will this go on? I've been afraid to go out of my room. What if somebody's outside? Moriguchi, or Terada, or Mizuki, or even the scary Tokura from tennis club. I'm so frightened I can't do anything. They all want to kill me. If they find out that I'm reading a manga on the internet, they will kill me for that. I'm pretty sure Moriguchi knows which sites I'm going to almost before I get there. What if Terada left some sort of bug in the room and Moriguchi is listening to every single word I'm saying? If she hears me saying something delicious or I'm having fun doing something, she'll want to kill me even more. They are watching me, and I can't do anything. I sit in my room, stare at the white walls, but the image of the pool and the little girl float up in front of me. I want to look away, but I know I am not allowed to. Moriguchi has put a curse on me. I spent the whole day staring at the wall. I don't know what time it is, what day it is. I can't taste food. I'm afraid of death, but I don't really feel like I'm leaving anymore. Maybe I'm not. For the first time in days, I saw myself in the mirror. I look miserable and filthy, but somehow I could see signs of life. My hair had grown. My fingernails are long. My skin were grimy, but I was still alive. I wanted to cry. I was bawling my eyes out. I'm alive! 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 I had the proof! My long hair, my fingernails, the grime on my skin, my hair covered my eyes and ears and hide my face. It protects me and lets me know that I'm still alive. The kid stares at the black mask about 4 months after the revenge. I woke from a deep sleep, as though I had finally crawled out of some place that I had sunk into, and I found black things scattered around my pillows. What was going on? I shook my head to try to clear it and then pick up one of those black things, but it dissolved in my hand. Starting to panic, I put my hands onto my head and felt my ears. That was my hair on the bed. My hair! My hair! My life! Life! The mud in the bottom of the swamp began to dissolve and it began to sink again. The mud came oozing into my nose and ears and I can't breathe. Death, 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 death. I don't want to die. 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 No, no, no. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Help me, somebody. But I was awake and I was in my room. Even if it had been trash, somehow I was still breathing. I could still move my arms and legs. I was alive. Or was I? I left my room and went downstairs. Mother had fallen asleep with her head down on her desk. This was my house, alright. I went to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror. Of course I wasn't dead. How could I be if I still had some hair? I took the electric clippers out of the drawer. My mother had cut my hair with them since I was going to middle school. When I turned them on, they make a nice, quiet buzzing sound. Put them up to my forehead and a little greasy clump fell at my feet, and with it I could feel a little part of me vanish. So that was it? The proof of life was the fear of death. Then there was only one way for me to crawl out of this swamp. Press harder. I ran the clippers all over my head, and with the buzzing, I could feel strips of my life being peeled away. When I was done with my hair, I cut my fingernails. Then I took a shower and washed away all the dirt. I lathered the soap into the washcloth and scrubbed over and over, and I could see the dirt falling off in flakes like dust from an eraser. The proof of life went spinning down the drain. So why was I still alive? I couldn't understand. I scrubbed away every last shred of evidence, proof of my existence, and yet I was still breathing. Then I remembered a video I had seen a few months ago. Now I understood. I had turned into a zombie. You could kill me again and again, but I didn't die, but it got better. My blood was actually a biological weapon. Maybe it would be fun to turn everyone else in town into zombies too. I decided to go out and touch everything on the shelf at the store, and thanks to the razor in my pocket, everything I touched would have a smear of sticky red blood. Mission accomplished. The biological weapon has been detonated. I went around, brushed my hand over every bento and rice ball and juice bottle like I was putting my stamp on them. I want everybody to feel the same fear I did. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder. A kid with a bleached blonde hair who probably worked there part-time. He's staring at my hand and he's got this really gross out look on his face. Blood's dripping from my palm where I cut it. Drip, 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 running nice and red. It didn't really hurt before, but now I'm staring at it. I can feel it pulsing and throbbing. So I grabbed a box of bandages off the shelf and wrapped it up. My mother came to get me. She did a lot of bowing and apologizing to the manager and the clerk. Then she bought all the stuff that I got bloody. The sun was still low in the sky as we walked home, but it was strong, like it was piercing right into me. As I walk along, squinting and wiping the sweat out of my eyes, I somehow stopped caring anymore about the fear of death or the proof of life. My hand was throbbing and I was hungry and really, really tired. I looked over at my mother who was walking next to me. She hadn't put on her makeup and she was wearing the same clothes she had on last night. When she came to her parents' day at school, she's always worried that she was older than other moms, but that never bothered me. She was prettier than any of them. But this was the first time I had seen her without makeup, and she couldn't even wipe away the drop of sweat running down her nose because she was holding the bags full of stuff I had touched in the store. I had to squint hard to keep from crying. I guess I've been misjudging her. I thought she wouldn't be able to love a kid who didn't live up to her expectation but her high ideals. But I was wrong. She's still here for me, even though now that I am a zombie. I decided to tell her everything, then get her to take me to the police. If she had been waiting for me when I got out, I was pretty sure I could put up with my punishment. If she could accept me, even though I'm a murderer, then maybe I would be able to start over again. But I didn't know how to say any of this to her. I knew I should just tell the truth. But somehow, I was still just a tiny bit scared that she would give up on me if she knew. But who am I kidding? When it came right down to it, I just wanted to leave myself as an escape route. Which was why I decided to tell her what I had done. But at the same time, to keep pretending to be a zombie while I was telling her, it was while I was explaining to her about what Moriguchi had done to me about the AIDS milk. Then I suddenly realized something really important. I didn't know whether I was infected or not. Or, if I was infected, whether I actually had the disease. What exactly had I been scared of all this time? I could see the water in the swamp clearing up right in front of my eyes. I suddenly felt free. And maybe that's why I could tell my mother that I had killed Moriguchi's little girl, that I had meant to do it. The way I felt that day by the pool, the feeling that I was better than Watanabe, better than anybody, came back to me. I was talking. As I finished my confession, I could tell she was pretty shocked. I was hoping she would agree that I need to go turn myself in, but she just sat there. On the other hand, she didn't scream or push me away either. She didn't give up on me, and that made me happier than just about anything. But then, she started asking me why I threw the girl in the pool even after she opened her eyes. It was because you were frightened, wasn't it? She must have said that 10 times. I wanted to tell her that it was because I was doing what Watanabe, the kind of kids she had wanted all along, couldn't do. I was succeeding where he had failed, but I couldn't say it. I didn't want to upset her anymore. So I just kept telling her that I was ready to go to the police. They showed up again. Terada and Mizuki. But they didn't scare me anymore. Let them come. But then, Terada started yelling outside the door. Naoki! If you are there, listen to me! So I sat down next to my window to listen. At that point, I didn't care what he said. You are not the only one who had a hard time this term. Some of your classmates have been bullying Shuya. It's been pretty bad. What? Watanabe has been going to school all this time? And he was still alive? Terada was saying that the kids had been punishing him, but they had stopped. I didn't listen after that. Instead, I remember what Watanabe had told me by the pool. We have never been friends. Can't stand kids like you anyway. Completely worthless, but full of yourself. Compared to a genius like me, you're pretty much a complete failure. And I could just hear him laughing at me now, knowing that I am a hikikomori. I had burrowed into my bed. The room was dark, and I was grinding my teeth. I knew I was really angry, but I didn't know what to do about it. All this was Watanabe's fault, but he has been going to school like nothing happened. I felt like the world's biggest loser. Even if mother won't go with me tomorrow, I'm going to the police to confess everything. He may get off easier than me, but at least he'll know that I was the one who killed her of my own free will. That will get him. I would like to see the look on his face when he finds out. I would like to be there to have a good laugh. I could hear somebody coming up the stairs. Must be my mother. And she must be coming to tell me she was ready to go to the police tomorrow. I was so happy. I went out to the hallway to wait for her, but as soon as she got to the top of the steps, I could see what she had in her hand. A kitchen knife. What does she want? What are you doing? I asked her. Aren't we going to the police? No, Naoki, she said. That wouldn't change anything. That wouldn't bring back my sweet Naoki. She was crying hard. Are you going to kill me? I want you to go with me to see Grandma and Grandpa. You want to send me alone? No, I'm going too. She hugged me, and I realized for the first time I was taller than she was. I suddenly felt really peaceful, and I knew it would be okay to die if she would come along with me. Mother was the only one who ever understood. Naoki, my sweet boy, forgive me. It's my fault you are this way. I'm sorry I wasn't a better mother. I'm sorry I failed you. Sorry I failed you? Failed you? Failed? Failure? Fail. Fail, 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 fail. She let go of me and rubbed my head. She has always been good, so good to me, petting me and spoiling me. There was a look of pity on her face. I'm sorry I failed you, she said. Stop! Stop, stop! I'm not a failure. I did not fail. Something hot splashed my face. Blood. Blood, blood. Mother's blood. Did I stab her? Her body looked skinny and fragile as she fell down the stairs. Mother, wait. Don't leave me. Mother! Mother! Take me with you. That's where the images playing on the wall always end. But who's the stupid kid who keeps showing up here? And why? Do I know exactly what he's thinking? And then there's this girl who says that she's my sister. She was calling to me from outside the door. Naoki, you didn't do anything. It's all a bad dream, she said. She called me Naoki. But I don't like being called by the same name as the idiot in the film on the wall. But if I'm actually that kid, then the bad dream is the film itself. And if that was a dream, what's this? If only I could just wake up and have some of Mother's scrambled eggs with bacon and go to school. And that is the end of chapter 4, The Seeker of Confessions. And that is where I'm going to end today, because chapter 5 and chapter 6 are pretty short, and I can finish that in the next day. Today's gonna be a oh, thank you for subscribe. Oh my god, I didn't hear it. Sento Tari, thank you for the subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my god.
Stretch.
Okay. Thank you for subscribing. Sorry, I didn't notice that. I didn't hear that. I don't know why. Oh my god.
maybe I had my earbud like. Oh, thank you for the. Thank you for the follow as well. Thank you. Something went wrong with the subscribing buttons, huh? I gotta go fix that later. Thank you so much. But yeah, today's gonna be a little bit short of a session because the chapter is a bit short. But I'm going to leave the. Thank you for subscribing and the follow. It really means a lot to me for a new streamer. And I still don't know what I'm doing. But thank you. Hey, Mia. Mia's with me the whole time. But I understand because Mia is in my server, so it's easier for her to come over. Well, there you go. Fucking Pokeball. Hey, Neuro! How's it going, Neuro? God damn it. I don't know what's wrong! It's very annoying. Doing healthy while lurking? Yeah, just go ahead. You don't have to come to the venue. It's like the most important thing is just come to the channel and listen, really. Cause just it's not like I'm like dancing or anything in front of this. I just keep pressing the reading button, really. It's like so don't worry about it, seriously. But yeah, today is gonna be a bit of a short session. I suspected so. But still, I think we got about close to 2 hours as I initially intended. The next chapter, we have 2 more chapters left, and the next we are going to finish up this book on Wednesday, basically. Yep. We're gonna finish up the book on Wednesday. There's only 2 chapters left, and then that's it for this week. The next stream will be on next Monday with a new book. This is a difficult book to read. It's very intense, definitely. This one in particular, because it's like, yeah, from a like a teenage boy point of view, basically. Oh my god. You guys have anything you all want to claim or anything from the Banana points? I haven't been doing like if you can see I'm supposed to be doing Hildy and beast, like start the beast tribe quest and everything, but I've been lazy in game basically, but I have been not lazy in real life, so that's good. Oh, Zealand! Yeah, there's a lot of, definitely Zealand. I've been wanting to reply to your message that day, but I don't know why. It's either you are not online or you are in like a different world or something that I couldn't reply to you. Go ahead. Go do your own reading session. It's not an original idea. I don't think it's an original idea. It's just an idea. But of course, don't call it Noodible. Call it something else. But I would appreciate it if you can credit me as an inspiration.
Shameless. Yeah, there's a lot of tricky emotions to go through that chapter. Um, there's a lot of high and low, and like when I was reading through it, because I don't prepare. I don't prepare like read it first um before I read to you all. So when I'm reading through it, I'm just reading like a lot of books that I'm reading to you guys. I have not read before, so basically I'm reading with you all at the same time. So that's why sometimes I cannot guess what emotions that's coming through the next line. So that's where I stumble a lot, and also yeah, I tend to swallow my words a lot. Like some words, some syllables just disappear sometimes. It's terrible. It's a very bad habit. Don't read like me. But yeah, Zealand, just yeah. It is definitely. I mean, I am an introvert, but I'm like kind of like half introvert. Like I can be extroverted. Uh, but after being extroverted, I have to like take like 2 weeks off to be an introvert. So I'm mostly an introvert with like some extroverted qualities. uh, just don't hesitate if you really feel like you want to stream any reading. Yeah, social battery charging. It's very common, definitely. But yeah, but for me it's definitely a lot more difficult to charge back because sometimes um well, let's just say that my brain is not wired properly. So when I feel a high, the next thing I'll feel is a low because my brain goes like, oh my god, I'm so happy now. Shit is going to happen soon. That kind of thing. So yeah. Yeah. So something like this, like for example, like me talking to you guys on chat, this is socializing. So I'm not saying that it's difficult. I'm actually enjoying it. Yeah. I generally enjoy talking to strangers or like talking to people, getting to know people, getting people to know me. I should do like a ant agony stream where I just take like questions from people, like how to solve problems in their life, and then I give them shitty advice. I love that. I would love that. But yeah, don't hesitate. Go ahead. If you really want to do it, I completely support you to do it. Go ahead. It's really fun actually. Cause reading to me, I think I've said this before many times. Reading to me is like a form of meditation. Cause I'm just focused on one thing. Yeah. And I promise that I will pick a nicer book next time. It's not so dark. Because previously, like all the books that I read are like kind of like they touch on mental illness a bit, like mental health. But it's also a bit light-hearted and have like good endings usually. But but I decided to go for confession after I watched the movie and found out that it's actually from a book. And I really love Japanese writers because they're so fearless when they write. Yeah. So thank you, Zelont. Thank you. I don't know if you went through my history of like. I'm a big fan. So for those who don't know, like Sento Kari, um, since you are new, I'm a big fan of Kazuo Ishiguro and Natsume Soseki. I'm that nerd who goes to Natsume Soseki's museum when I went to my trip in Japan. My last trip to Japan in 2019. Fuck my life. Like, they still not open yet, their borders. The first place I'll go when, like, the fucking when Japan borders open, I don't even care how much it's gonna cost me. I'm just gonna go there again because I miss it so much. I used to go to Japan once a year since 2011. Now I haven't been since 2019. It's killing me from the inside. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, fun facts. Ha ha ha. But yeah, I like Japanese writers. They are very fearless. A lot of Japanese writers are very fearless, and I really, really enjoy it. Sento Kari, you followed my YouTube. Is that right? That's why there is no notification. I get it now. I get it now. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know if I should like advertise my YouTube more or I should try streaming on YouTube. You know, the last time before I changed my computer, I tried to stream on YouTube and I couldn't even move in my game. Like I can't even stand up in my game. But I think with my new computer, it might be easier to like stream on YouTube. But I'm still thinking like, do I want to switch over to YouTube or stay with Twitch? I still don't know yet. But right now, Twitch definitely have more followers than. But it's not like, you see, I have like 100 over followers, but like there's like 7 of you guys are here. I mean, I love all 7 of you. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, this one is a bit dark. Confessions. I'm gonna choose, hopefully, cause I have some new books. I don't know whether they are like light-hearted or not, but I'll try to like choose one that is like, I don't know. Hopefully it's light-hearted. The keyword is hopefully. But okay, anyways, if you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you guys can go ahead to my, there's a link in my about page, I think, to my YouTube channel. It's a lot more messy in there, not as well organized as my Twitch channel, but if it helps, it helps. I mean, if you guys don't mind, it helps. Okay, I am gonna go grab lunch. And I'm gonna end the stream soon. So before I end the stream, does anyone wants to redeem anything from the Banana points? Or if not, I'm going to choose a poem and read to you guys to end the stream. Oh, thank you, Zelont. Thank you so much. Trying to look for a very good poem. A very good poem to end the stream. So I'm like quiet now because I'm choosing. Oh, Zealand wants. Okay, okay. You can choose. Okay, you can choose from page 224 to 355. 224 to 335. 224 to 335. Sorry, 355. Sorry, 224 to 355. Choose one page. 313. Nice. 313. Oh man, I'm thinking that you guys are actually, most of you guys are from Southeast Asia, huh? I think so. I have a feeling. The title of the poem is, okay, wait. The poet is Shirley Lim. She's a Malaysian, but now I'm pretty sure she's American now, living in America. She is now a professor of English at the University of California. And she's originated from Malacca in Malaysia. She's one of my favorite writers. She has some really good short stories as well that I can read probably one of these days. Okay, title of the poem for Zealand is Father from Asia. Father, you turn your hands towards me. Large cracked bowls, they are empty. Stigmata of poverty. Light pours through them, and I must back away. For you are dangerous, father of poverty, father of 10 children, father of nothing, from whose life I've learned nothing for myself. You are the father of childhood, father from Asia, father of sacrifice. I renounce you, keep you in my sleep, keep you 2 oceans away. Ghost who eats his own children, father who lives at the center of the world, whose life I dare not remember. For memory is a will that crushes, and Asia is dust, is dust. You chose a dark one, brother. Yeah. Oh my god. She writes a lot about like being like her heritage as a Malaccans, and she write a lot about being like a migrant in America a lot. Okay. With the last redemption from Zealand, I'm gonna end the stream with a poem that I pick myself right now. Oh my god, you are here, like right. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm gonna end my stream with the poem of my choice. Hopefully, it's not as dark, but Alright. It is called, also by Shirley Lim. It's called Solitary. Oh, thank you, Ando. I thought everyone forgot that I have to drink. Solitary by Shirley Lim. Sorry. The leaves are falling yellow, copper done. Days falling one by one into November, December, another year's done. Winds stir the high ginkgo branches. A glass sits beside me, their twirling leaves. Below, spendthrift lies gold on grass. Only a wall separates me from the bullying cold. My red jacket hangs by the nail. It is too soon to be up and walking, to wrap and fold myself against the Boston air. Too late to begin singing lessons. Life was too busy every date. Yesterday was blue and golden. Today it rains. What rains? The sodden clouds wrung wet. Air itself, eyes, imaginings. This hour slides inside a stranger's room, with other hours, other fictions. Here are tides, here the rising moon. And that is the end of today's stream. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you, Sento Kari, for stumbling upon my stream. I really appreciate it. I usually stream on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But lately, for the past month or so, I have been extremely busy online. To be online. Too busy in real life, basically. So my stream schedule has been all messed up. But thank you so much for being here with me. Follow me on Twitter. Because I will always announce when I go live. So hopefully you guys can know when I go live and join me on another reading session. And for now, for today, on a very sunny Monday very sunny Monday afternoon from where I am, I wish you all a very great week ahead and a smooth day at work or at school. Thank you for being here with me. And with that, I bid you all goodbye with my favorite song in the world. Have a great day.
Have you ever had a dream that you could
Goodbye.